We've looked at how people fail, and that's just biblical principles of why and how people fail in their personal finances. But how do you live within God's economy? How do you succeed in God? In other words, how do you live according to God's economy? Well, we're in James, and we're going back to the top, and we're going to read it from a different perspective now. James 5:1, the first thing that he tells us is that we are to plan ahead. In the same reason that we fail to plan ahead, so the obvious thing is plan ahead. Plan ahead. Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming upon you. Listen, what he's saying is difficult times are ahead. Joseph said that. He saw it coming. We see that over and over and over again in the Bible. Difficult times are ahead. They always are. Plan ahead. You're going to have some difficult times ahead in your life. Plan ahead. Luke 14:28 says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Will he not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? Of course. That just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? That you are to plan ahead. Right now, and I'm going to embarrass Greg. Because, yeah, Greg, look at that. By the way, why do you have a knit cap on and your jacket on here? And you know, and your wife is sitting next to you and she's probably freezing to death, but no, you're nice and warm. I want to say this, and I don't do this to embarrass Greg, but we've asked Greg to help refurbish our deck, and which needs a lot of work. And Greg came in and gave us a bid, and I want to tell you, I've been watching how Greg works and what he does. Greg is one of the finest craftsmen that I have come across in woodwork, and I am so impressed with the way he does his business. But it was interesting to watch how Greg planned ahead. He came in, and I don't know how many times he came over and measured. I got sick of looking at him. Because he'd come over and he'd measure this and measure that, and then he'd write some things down, and I was thinking to myself, boy, you know what, if this guy is as good as he writes, you know, and then this thing is going to be okay. But he planned ahead. And he took so much time and he's doing such a phenomenal job in what he does, and I'm so pleased with the work. But part of the reason that he does good work is because he plans ahead. And there are no real surprises other than a homeowner will come along and, yeah, I think I want to do this differently. I think I'll try this now. You know, and you know, that's my point. You know, my whole point is to frustrate him as much as possible, you know, to make him lose his salvation. But he plans ahead, and Greg, you do such good, and I want everybody to know that, and I'm pleased with what you're doing. You're a good guy, and I appreciate that. And his wife really does most of the work, but it's true. But plan ahead. If you're gonna build something, plan ahead. If you've got something for your future, plan ahead. Be meticulous. Do what you have to do to plan ahead, so that there are no real surprises that come your way. In fact, the Bible warns that we are to expect difficult times. There are going to be those times in our lives that really devastate us. And if we're not planning ahead and expecting those, we are going to be in a real world of hurt. Ecclesiastes 9 verses 11 and 12 says, I've seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise or wealth to the brilliant or favor to the learned. Isn't that good news? You don't have to be smart to succeed. You don't have to be. That's good news for me. But the time and chance happen to them all. Moreover, no man knows when his hour will come. As fish are caught in a cruel net, or birds are taken to a snare, so men are trapped by evil times that fall unexpectedly upon them. What he was saying was, look, there are going to be difficult times in your life. Plan ahead. You don't know what you're planning for, but you have to know that those times are coming. And in fact, what Joseph did was, in the times of abundance, he saved 20%. Isn't that interesting? He saved 20%. And that principle, by the way, is taught in the Bible in a number of places. That during times of abundance, not all the time, I mean, it's not always, you can't always save 20%, can you? Sometimes you're just eking by. But in those times of abundance, when things are good, save the 20%. Put it away. It's important that you plan ahead. So, plan ahead. The second thing that he tells us to live in God's economy is in verse 2. Make wise investments. Make wise choices. Take care of what you have. He says, your wealth has rotted and moths have eaten your clothes. Plan ahead is what he's saying. You see, buy things that will last. Don't buy cheap,